All right, everyone. Hello. Welcome back. Or really, I should be welcoming myself back to my own channel because it's been a minute. It's been 3 months since I last made a video, which I was talking about, sort of my plans for life right now, none of which have really changed dramatically. But some things have come up, which are kind of like course correcting, rerouting. The underlying theme does still stay the same. So today's video is really about scaffolding a life aligned with my standards and not my stress. For me in particular, this is about nutrition, career, travel, and then thinking about emotional clarity. So, the first thing I would like to talk about is what's actually working right now for me, that foundation layer. So, since May, I've really committed myself to focusing on my nutrition. March and April were very much like a transition period for me. I had just moved out of my condo, moved a renter in. I had just undergone a lot of big life things, such as moving away from my 9 to 5. I had just started working full time at my current group fitness position. So there was just a lot happening. And then I kind of thought that I was going to go super heavy into training. Um, and I was ignoring my nutrition. And for those of you that are into fitness or have some understanding of it, you have to fuel properly. So, coming into the month of May, I really wanted to sort of double down on that and sort of focus on the areas in which I perhaps was maybe missing some information or needed additional guidance. Actually, funny enough, there was a challenge that we were leading at my group fitness studio that was kind of ending at the end of March. And one of the members, a woman, asked to work with me. And her biggest thing was that well, at least I told her that she needed to focus on her nutrition in addition to training harder because there was a specific look that she was going for. Already a very slim, slender woman, but just in terms of her body composition, she could really benefit by increasing her protein intake and then just, increasing her weights when she does strength train and being a little bit more intentional as she moves through movement. So she had reached her goal and she was super happy about it. And that kind of lit up a fire in me. Obviously, I had a lot of things going on in my background that were kind of feeling a little bit unstable. And so I kind of looked at her as like, okay, this is somebody that has a lot of things that are stable in their lives, but maybe they just needed that one piece of information, which I was able to give them to allow them to move forward. I know by the end, she kind of said, I feel like I have a new lifestyle now. So that was exciting to be able to offer to someone else, and definitely one of the reasons why I did step into this vocation. So I kind of thought for myself, coming into May, I really want to focus on my nutrition. So the good news is that I've lost 7 pounds. Today is May 26th. I have successfully done that without any restriction. This has been purely by structure. I have been counting my macros. That's something that for me is important just for precision. I do weight training as well as hybrid training. So for me, it is important to know exactly how much I am consuming, specifically protein, because I do want that to work properly for my training sessions and just for my overall, body and aesthetics and growing and gaining lean muscle mass. Cooking has really become a ritual for me in this process. I struggled with that so much before. But I think it kind of just goes to like when you have layers of instability in your life, it becomes hard to do other things. And for me in particular, that was cooking. I actually love cooking, but because other things were kind of distracting me and causing me to feel layers of anxiety, I could not really focus on it. And so now, kind of like rediscovering my why, right, for kind of getting myself in shape and getting my nutrition in order, I've been able to find a love in that ritual of cooking and not sort of like think of it as a chore. Once my mind was clear, everything kind of really, really just flowed. And those same habits of wanting to just grab something really quickly kind of just like really disappeared. I also, at the same time of committing to this early in May, had found this particular fitness influencer. Her name is, well, I guess I should not call her a fitness influencer. She's an athlete. Her name is Lottie. Lottie Alice Lamb. I will put a photo of her here. I think she's amazing. I'm super inspired by her. Do I want to attain her level of fitness? Not necessarily. But what I appreciate about her message is that she is someone who really thinks of food as fuel, and also trains in some ways that are similar to me, or at least ways that I hope to reach in the future, which is very important. Sometimes when you look at people in the fitness space, it's important to find people that are either at your level or a level that you want to achieve, because not everybody is doing the same things. Someone that is a part of the Pilates lifestyle is not going to eat the same way as somebody that is a bodybuilder, right? Those are very different goals, very different lifestyles. And so you really need to think about what is it that you are trying to do and trying to achieve, and then find those models accordingly. I really just like found a lot of clarity through, understanding that discipline really isn't enough. You can't always like double down on discipline to reach weight loss goals. And it simply is not enough to just say, I want to lose weight. For some people, it is. But for others like me, it's really not that simple. And that's okay. I think for me, again, like, we've got a challenge going on with our members. I want to show up well for them. I want to inspire them. And I want to build habits that support this life that I'm leading now. And so I need to step into that fully every day. So that's what has helped me sort of get to where I am with 7 pounds down, and definitely hoping to continue that. The next thing that I want to talk about is when environments don't meet your standards and how this can cause fractures in your life. Working in fitness and this new vocation that I've taken on is essentially working in the service industry. And for anyone that has worked in the service industry, you know very intimately that you deal with a lot of ego tripping, sometimes very absent leadership, and a lack of cohesive teamwork, sometimes very minimal communication, or just like disjointed, chaotic communication. And so for me, this kind of really culminated in boundaries being crossed, and then a moment of snapping, where I had to sort of take a step back and think, what am I doing here? What am I really doing here? Um, there's some situations that, yeah, like I said, came up that really pushed my boundaries professionally. And it's made me think about the amount of effort that I'm putting in versus the gains that I'm receiving. So, financially, experience wise, you can't always turn to leadership for things in these types of environments just because of how intimate they can be, especially in fitness. And if leadership has not established a standard, you guys are kind of all just sort of like running wild. um, so these past 3 months, I've kind of really understood uh, the landscape of things. And so this reflection that I'm having right now is, what am I gaining versus giving, and the time to scaffold an exit plan. My next point is about how fear still tries to sneak in, even when you are so sure about your plan, can be so confident in the roadmap and the vision, and can have spent so many hours meditating on it, it will still sneak in. So, briefly going back to things that are going well, I hired a financial advisor. Shout out to Fruitful. I can put a link here to their site. Super, super helpful, affordable financial advisors. You don't have to be a high net worth person to be able to take part or to be able to use their services. I am more clear on my full financial picture now to help me progress towards my goals of being able to move abroad, right? I had ideas, but now once you kind of start to put everything in a system and have sort of an objective viewpoint to take a look at everything, becomes a lot more clear what's happening and what it's going to take to continue to get there. As I'm having this conversation with my financial advisor and starting to think about, okay, what are some other things that I need to do to plug in the gaps that I have right now, I get an unexpected reach out from my former from someone at my former employer. And this is all exciting, right? Because I did leave for a reason, but, for me, I'm thinking dollar signs, right? Like, this is a great financial opportunity, and this would definitely be remote work, which is something that I would really want right now, to be able to, again, fulfill those dreams of moving abroad. So I speak to this person, and they kind of bring up things that in the past we were never fully able to see things through on because of multiple reasons that I won't get into in this video, not important. But just within a week, that offer was taken away. Nothing to do with me, but it kind of all went back to the reasons that I had left the company. So, lack of communication, organization, and kind of a clear picture on where they're at, what their needs are. And that was really disappointing and demoralizing and disappointing because I had already started to build this picture, this narrative in my mind of what this opportunity would mean towards my goals, right? It was like momentary hope and then very quick collapse. And I panicked. I like panic applied to jobs. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but I panic applied to jobs that I don't even want, right? Jobs that I have figured out at this point I do not want to do, but I still panic applied to them. And in that moment, I recognized an old trigger. I recognized that disappointment actually made me want to go seek out some comfort food, like a slice of pizza or something. And my new response, because I had been doubling down on my nutrition, I had been focusing on it so much and enjoying that process, I didn't do it. Disappointed, but didn't kind of like shake my current habit. And I kind of laughed when I realized that it's like, oh, that was triggering for me. And was able to recognize that and overcome that small moment of chaos. Because, like I said before, this would have been a behavior that would have really derailed me. And we all have those behaviors that kind of derail us, right? But I was really proud of myself in that moment for not letting something that really has nothing to do with me, right? They had initiated it, and, it was really on them. And I have to remember that even in the process of sort of like understanding why now things weren't really adding up, that was another moment that went well this week. The old job reach out, fiasco was disappointing. Yes, it sucked. It did bring me back to what's important to me now. It's not just about remote work. It is about scaffolding a system that supports the dream life that I want. In the past, I've definitely taken on roles um, out of exploration, I'll just say. I did not clearly know what I wanted to do, but I was very confident in my 20s, and was very open and curious. And that landed me in a lot of really great positions. But as time went on, I felt very disconnected, misaligned. I had goals, I reached those goals, but they were material goals. And so now at this phase, I'm thinking about where am I trying to get to next? And then from there, what are the skills that I've built over the last 8 years that I can almost reverse engineer into a job, whether that's full time or freelance, that's going to help me be able to move abroad, right? So many of these move abroad videos are about like, I took my skills and now I'm working remotely, independently with my own business. That's kind of like the point that I'm at right now. So when it comes to travel, it's not just about enjoying it, it's about like this rhythm that I'm trying to get into. What I loved about my last job is I had the opportunity to travel internationally a couple times. Last year, I felt like I left the country 3 times. And then when I did take those trips, I was able to country hop from there, which was amazing. And that really, really woke me up to the fact that travel is so important to me. And I just wasn't doing enough of it. And so if I can build a professional career now, or at least a way to support myself financially that would allow me to do that, that is what I need to prioritize. Even just last week, I was traveling for some siblings' graduations, and this is just domestic travel within the country, and that really lit me up. And even at 30,000 feet, I'm kind of getting all this clarity about my life. And, I want a job that allows me to travel a lot. So this brings me back to like, duh, it's like, you want to live abroad, but you want to be able to move a lot. So when I look into the future and again, reverse engineer myself, what are those skill sets that can put me into a freelance gig that would allow me to get there? So I'll continue this all, I think, in a separate video. This video, again, is really just about like reflecting on what's working and honoring how you build it. Don't ignore the signs when spaces are no longer meeting your standards. I have a list here. Know your triggers so they don't hijack your process. And your ideal life isn't just a dream, it's a structure that you can build. I'll put all of these right here because that's something that I'm really, really trying to live by in these next few months. So if you're in your own scaffolding season, I hope that you continue to tune in. Perhaps we can motivate each other, inspire each other, fitness, freedom, something else, whatever it is for you. Let's continue to hold space for each other. Thanks for tuning in.